And welcome to the Inner Circle, the 1% Club, excuse me. Glad you are here. Today I have a special guest. We have a man who's been in the Olympics. We have just a big deal, like a one tenth of one tenth of one tenth of one tenth of 1%. He's been in the World Series. He's got all kinds of powerful life experiences. He is now one of the leadership consultants and coaches for the Chicago Cubs. He's been on the Boston Red Sox. He's here to share with you today his story of triumph and struggle and victory and being gritty. And he's known as one of the most resilient Major League Baseball players of all time. They even call him Mr. Brazilian. So I could not be more excited to have him on here today. So, Ryan Lavarnway, welcome to the 1% Club. This is where my champions are. I get some people I really love and care about on here. Welcome to the 1% Club.
Thanks. Thank you, Brent. I'm excited to be with you guys.
Right on. Now tell everyone where you're broadcasting from. Are you in Colorado? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in my basement office here in outside of Denver, Colorado.
Beautiful, beautiful. And if everyone could put your view on speaker view, we want to get a good shot. Look at him, he's handsome. I just did it myself. The otherwise it's distracting to look at everybody. But I asked Ryan to come on here and just share his story and give you what he's got. So he's gonna rock. The stage is yours for the next 25 minutes. Have fun. Let's do it. Let's hear it, Ryan.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I'm excited to be with you. I love speaking to real estate agents because you get me. You get everything that I've been through as a professional athlete. In your world, rejection, market shifts, emotional fatigue, it's the daily reality. And it's really your opportunity to rise when other people fold. And as a professional athlete, so many people think that I had a lot of success. I made it to the top. I got to be the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. But my story is not exactly what you might think. I got drafted when I was 20 years old and sent to Lowell, Massachusetts. The next year, I was sent to Greenville, where I set the home run record. Then moved up to Salem, where I was an all-star. Portland, Pawtucket, I was player of the month. I was a big prospect. I was back to back to back minor league player of the year for the Red Sox. Got called up to Boston, made my big league debut, got my first two hits, threw a guy out. I was the first player in the major leagues to ever hit two homers and throw a guy out in my first start as a catcher. And everything was going to plan. I was on SportsCenter top 10 as an unlikely hero in Boston. And then the next day, I got sent down to the minors and called up and sent down and called up and sent down and called up and sent down 26 times over the course of 12 years. I actually got fired from my dream job 26 times, which is more than anyone else in the history of baseball. And I don't think that record will ever be broken because they've made new rules that say you can't go up and down that many times anymore. So I moved from the Red Sox to the Dodgers to the Cubs, Orioles, Braves, called up, sent down, free agent, double demoted down to double A with the Blue Jays. That one hurt. Found myself without a job, then found myself playing in Israel, Korea, Japan, signed back in the States in Nashville, Oakland, Pittsburgh, New York for the Yankees, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Miami, Cleveland again, Miami again. Then I signed with the Tigers and got traded back to the Marlins to finish my career. And basically, the only reason I was successful throughout the course of my career was because I mastered what I call the why not mindset. And you may be wondering what the why not mindset is. This started from my high school coach. Maybe you guys had a coach in your career, in your life at some point that believed in you more than you believed in you, and you learned how to borrow that belief. I want to share this story with you guys because it has become the mantra for me. I share this with the Cubs players, and I share this all around the country and all around the world. I didn't make my varsity team in high school until I was a senior. And I know everyone says boo-hoo to Michael Jordan not making it as a freshman. As a freshman, I played on the freshman team. As a sophomore, I played on the sophomore team. As a junior, guess what? Junior varsity. And then my momentum of my career, the trajectory was taking me towards where 93% of high school players go, and that's where their career ends right after high school. That's where I was headed. And that's exactly where I would have ended up if it wasn't for my high school coach asking one day. He looked around and he said, "Hey, who's going to hit fourth for us next year?" And you know when someone asks a question and you just know the answer's not you. I knew the answer was not me because we had 8 returning seniors that were all playing Division One the next year. They all had college scholarship offers. I had never played on the varsity. I was the slowest runner on the team. I had no defensive position to play. My arm was average, but I was so desperate for this man's approval. And Brent, when I'm there in person with you, I like to put up a picture of Darth Vader because this was the coach that made you run sprints even when you lose or even when you win because you should have won by more. Anybody have a coach like this, like a drill sergeant? Just pounds you, and pounds you. And hopefully you turn into a diamond and you don't turn into dust because when he pounds you, the pressure can either make diamonds or it could crush you. So this coach asked, "Who's going to bat fourth for us this year?" And I raised my hand, and this feels like crazy because I'm almost 40 and I have peers that still have confidence issues from this man. Not good. But when I raise my hand, all he kind of does is he crosses his arms and he goes, "Why not you?" And those 3 words changed my life because when I heard "why not you," I didn't hear it the same way my 3-year-old daughter says it now. Anybody have a toddler at home that when you say you can't have candy before dinner, it's, "Why not? Why not?" The privilege. It's not the privilege. I heard it more as rebellious. I heard it as audacious, as I refuse to accept what the world is giving me right now and I demand more. So he said, "Why not you?" And the rest of that semester, going into the senior season, every time I went to the batting cage, well, why not me? Every time we went to the weight room, well, why not me? Every time that we started playing games and the scouts would show up to see the other players, well, why can't I do something where they notice me? Right? What does that look like for you? What are your goals? I know that Brent was telling me this is the 1% group, so you guys are already elite. Well, if you want to stand out again, what's the next level for you? Why not you? Why not more? By the end of that season, not only did I make the varsity team, I was batting fourth, and I ended up making all conference. The scouts were like, "Where did this guy come from? Who is he, and where's he been?" And I ended up with a chance to play in Division One baseball the next year. Only 7% of high school players get to play in college. Well, why not me? So the next year, I end up playing college baseball, and I played somewhere that's probably not somewhere you have ever thought about the baseball team before. You ever heard of Yale University? You ever thought for 1 second about the Yale University baseball team? Probably not, unless you studied presidents, because the Yale University baseball team has produced more U.S. presidents than baseball players. It's 5-3, and I was the third. That next year, I'm playing college baseball at Yale, and there was another 3-word question that a coach had with me that changed my trajectory again. I saw our first baseman. His name's Mark Sawyer. He got awarded All Ivy League. And whenever I tell this story, there's a lot of blank faces, just like there is right now, because All Ivy League, nobody cares. But when I heard of that, I was like, "Ooh, all conference, right? Prove that you're a big fish in a small pond." It might as well have been written in neon lights with the sound of angels coming down from heaven when I heard this. I was like, "All Ivy League." Oh! I wanted to make that my goal, right? Why not me? So I start pounding my chest. I'm dancing around town. I haven't even won All Ivy League yet. I just decided that I wanted to go for it. So I tell my coach, my college coach, this was actually the volunteer assistant hitting coach at Yale because they didn't have budget for a hitting coach. So I tell this guy that's not in a position of authority, not the LA Times coach of the year like my high school coach was, but just a guy in a perceived position of authority. I say, "I want to win All Ivy League." Pound on my chest. And he goes, "Ryan, why not more?" There it was again. That's the second time, a why not question pushing me to be better. Why not more? He continues, "Why would you stop at All Ivy League when you can win All American?" And there's the Brent flexing his guns, right? There's always a bigger goal. I had never even considered All American, right? I've done the research now. I'm glad I didn't do it back then. There hadn't been an All American baseball player at Yale in 25 years, basically, since other universities got baseball programs. So I was trying to do something that hadn't been done in my lifetime, but I made that my goal. And because I set the bar higher, it changed the way I saw the world, right? You guys are already the 1%. How can you be the 1% of the 1%, right? I do this presentation. I did this for a group of insurance agents in Arkansas, and they were pumped about being the best salesman in the region. They had the best numbers in the state. And I tell them this story, and I see a couple lights turn on. I say, why shouldn't I be the best in the country? Put yourself in a bigger pond, right? Small fish, small pond. Think about it. If you're a healthy fish, you get put into a bigger pond with more resources and more room to swim, you get bigger yourself. You prepare for that new environment and you grow and get stronger. So I went to college summer ball that year. I thought, how would an All-American do this? I didn't know the answer to that. I took batting practice. Every time I stepped in, it was in my subconscious. Every time I was thinking about it. How would an All-American take this at bat? How would an All-American go to the gym? How would an All-American do this? I didn't know the answer, but I tried to embody the person that deserves that goal. Embody that person, because you can't take a shortcut. You got to do the work. You got to become the person that deserves the goal. So along the way, I started going early to workouts and staying late. I started watching film and actually studying film instead of just watching games. I'm studying now. And then even when I tried to turn my brain off and I was like, let me just relax and like watch a cartoon and chill, my subconscious was still working. Anybody ever watch that show Dragon Ball Z? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Couple nods. There's always a couple. I'm watching this show, it's anime, and one of the characters goes, I must remove my weighted clothing before battle. And I'm like, oh, how could I get some weighted clothing before my battle? I want that. And I'm like, I never would have thought of this crazy idea in my life. But I was like, what if I got a weight vest? What if I could find some sort of weight vest I could wear under my clothes so that when I'm tying my shoes, I got a weight vest on? Or so that when I go to class, I, I got a weight vest on, right? So I did. I got a weight vest. And if, Brent, when we're in person, don't tell anybody, I wear it under my shirt the whole speech. And I remove it at the end. I'm not wearing it right now because, it's not going to have the same effect. But I walk this talk. I wore a weight vest. And even when I was at frat parties with the co-eds, right, I'm dancing around. My buddies are broing out. They're punching my abs of steel. I was wearing a weight vest. And when the season came the next year and I took that thing off, I didn't feel like I could run. I felt like I could fly. I still don't know what a weight vest has to do with playing baseball. I don't know what wearing a weight vest during the whole speech has to do with speaking, but it makes a difference. That was my way of hunting for the edges, of searching for more, of guaranteeing that I was doing more than everybody else. What's your version of that? Right? There has to be something in the real estate industry that could give you that edge that I am working harder and smarter than every single other person. I have the edge, because then when it comes time to perform, it comes time to talk to your clients, deep in your bones, I am the best person for this. I am the most prepared. I have done the work. I know this market better than anyone else. I close deals. I find my buyers the perfect home, right? Whatever it is for you, hunt for that edge. Because that next season, I went from a freshman who played average to leading all of NCAA in batting average and slugging percentage, breaking 14 records in the Yale record book, and being All-American that very next year. And I know deep down in my bones that if my goal had been All Ivy League, I would have got All Ivy League and not All-American. There's thousands of studies on having high and specific goals. Specific goals that leave no wiggle room for second place, right? If you were the 3% in the country, 3% in this company, you don't get to come on this phone call, right? You're in the 1%. That is a very specific and high goal already. What's the next one, right? If you're making $1 million, $2 million in commission right now, how about 5? Why not you? Why not more? I've created a signature framework that I implement through the course of my speeches. We're not going to go through all of it today, but it's why not? A why that withstands the hard times. Hardwiring your habits on purpose. Your reframe. Anytime there's a situation that brings you down, you get to reframe it so that it actually is positive and impactful for you. Normalizing neutral because you can't be on the gas all the time. Operating from ownership and ultimately trusting yourself. Today, I just want to cover operating from ownership because I think this group will really resonate with taking ownership of everything. There's obviously going to be times where you are not in control of every outcome, right? When I got sent down to the minor leagues because David Ortiz was healthy, even though I was hitting 305 and had the highest OPS in baseball, out of my control. I did everything I can do. There's going to be deals you lose, even though you do everything right. You can still take ownership of how can I learn from this? Because you lead yourself through it, you own every outcome. That's how you stay resilient and get the rewards in this world. You don't make excuses. For me, I needed to own, well, I'm not David Ortiz. This was a business decision. How can I work on my defense so that I can't get sent down the next time? How can I work on my leadership? How can I work on this? Pick something to own so that you can take a step in the right direction. 7% of high schoolers get to play in college. Only 9% of college baseball players get drafted. And then even once you go pro, only 16% of people that get drafted play in the big leagues for one day. And 50% of those don't play for a year. I got 10 seasons in the major leagues, 8 different teams. Won a World Series. I got to play in the Olympics. I played in 2 World Baseball Classics and was MVP of Pool A in Korea in 2017. I got to achieve every one of my wildest dreams. And there's no reason you can too, because I know that I am not the best baseball player. I never was the best baseball player, but I found the things that moved the needle. I took ownership of everything that I could, and I focused on the things that mattered. I like to end with one story from Terry Francona. I told you I got fired from my dream job 26 times. Terry Francona was my first major league manager with the Boston Red Sox. He also happened to be my last major league manager with the Cleveland Indians. On the 25th time that I got sent down from the major leagues, it was him. And he sends me down. At this point, I know what's coming, right? You get a tap on your shoulder. Somebody says, "Hey, Skipper wants to see you. Sorry." You know what's coming, right? So I walk to his office. I'm not going to beg for my job. I'm not going to beg and plead. I'm a pro, right? Just like if you get fired by a client or you get turned down for a deal, you don't beg for your job, right? You're a pro. You handle it like you can. Handle it with grace. So I go in the meeting and he goes, "Barney, we got to send you down." And I'm like, I know. I'm the guy that goes down. And I'm using that why not me mentality against myself in that moment. I only realized this now later. I had started to identify with the guy that gets sent down, not the guy that stays. And in that moment, he reminded me a little bit of that why not you. He says, "Barney, sometimes being a realistic self-evaluator doesn't serve you. Sometimes you got to be just dumb enough to think you're better than you are. Because this is the big leagues. And if everybody was realistic, not very many people actually belong here." Think about how that applies to you. Do you remember your first $1 million listing? Did you feel like you deserved it or were ready for that first time? Probably not, right? You sold yourself to that client thinking you were better than you were, or selling yourself better than you actually were at the time. Well, if you haven't had a $5 million listing yet, you got to do the same thing. If you haven't had a $10 million listing yet, you got to do the same thing. Whatever that next goal is, whatever that next reach is, that next level that you're going to get to, every level has its own devil. Every success comes with its own roadblocks or hurdles. Why not you? Why not more? And because information without application is stagnation, but information with application is transformation, I want to ask you what you're going to do about it. How are you going to take that next step to make your career, your business go to the next level? I've told you why not you. I've mentioned why not more. I want to finish with the challenge. Why not now? What's the next step you can take in your business and your career starting today? That's what I got for you guys today, Brent.
I loved it, man. I took a ton of notes. I couldn't write quick enough, Ryan, man. It was awesome. I love when you said hunt for the edges. I
Mm,
like that. I'm just like, "Arr," I just want to growl when I hear that. Search for more, man. Dig deep. I love it, man. And I wrote down, you can't hit a goal you don't have. And I
mm,
think oftentimes we're just trying to get to 50 when we should be trying to get to 500. And be outrageous. It's not always cool to be practical. People live lives of quiet desperation. So, dude, you are a very non-practical guy, and you dared to believe, and I love that,
mm,
man. And you lived a life that the rest of us would only dream. We all played baseball and softball and soccer, and I played rugby, and I did play in college, so I was one of those 7%ers. But in college, if you could drink beer, you're on the rugby team, so it's really not saying that much. But I went to the number one party school in America. I have that. You went to Yale. I went to Chico State in the '80s. Number one in America. That's exactly why I chose it. It was super fun. All right, but anyway, so I wrote that down because if you'd have just focused on Ivy League, you'd have never made the All American. And I think we got some All Americans on here, but you are selling yourself short. So Ryan and I want to say to you guys, why not you? And why settle for Ivy League, all Ivy League, when you could be all American? You are what you decide you are. And I think life gives you what you ask of it. And we don't even dare to dream. And then back it up with this reckless. Like, I love when you said, how would an all American show up in the weight room?
mm.
I wouldn't. I was listening. I was taking notes. I got pages of notes over here. I don't know what the rest of you guys do. You sit and listen, man. Do not do that ever. He's throwing out gold, man. You've heard me say it. Great ideas are like slippery fish. If you don't stab it with the end of your pen, they get away. And so I got all your stuff, man. I'm gonna quote you for 3 times, and then it's all mine. Your whole story, your whole life, is now mine. No, I'm just kidding you, man. You have a great smile, by the way. You got $1 million smile. But I love it. Own every outcome. I hope you guys wrote that down. Both good and bad, because then you're powerful. You just own it and you do something about it. That was so good. I did miss this. I couldn't write quick enough. 7% of the high school athletes go to college. Only 9% get drafted. And then you went so quick, I didn't get the rest. Can I hear that?
Yeah, 16% of people that get drafted play 1 day in the big leagues,
One day
and
in the
50% of those don't get a year.
big leagues, and then 50% of those don't even make the year. And that's it. So so it is a 1% situation, probably 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah,
Get a year. That was so good. And then you wrote, move the needle.
yeah.
Focus on what matters. So good, man. I love it. I took this was really a treat to hear, and I'm so grateful that you came on. Does anybody have a question for Ryan? I got some things I'm going to wrap up with today. I got a few minutes left, but seriously, do you have a question for Ryan? I mean, he played for the Red Sox. He played for all these different teams. He traveled the world. He lived his dream, and now he is. What is it you do for the Cubs exactly, Ryan?
So they hired me 2 years ago to coach catchers as a position coach, but because of the work I do outside of the Cubs with leadership and mindset, they've added leadership development coach to my role for the organization.
So you're in charge of helping them become leaders, mindset, all that stuff.
Players and staff. Yeah, I hosted 7 workshops for coaches throughout the organization last year.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, we got a question. Fire away. It's all yours, Rose.
All right. So here, first of all, thank you so much for that. I didn't even realize I was on Why Not until you said it. I didn't know what the hell I was on, but I knew I was on something. So I've been in your club. But here's the question. What do you do? What does getting you motivated look like? Because everybody got a routine or some type of thing, that gets them to that zhuzh. What's yours?
Thank you for that question. I love that question. I'm gonna challenge you to think differently. I think motivation is overrated.
Okay. Okay.
I think
All right.
I honestly think motivation is a bunch of BS. I think you
Okay.
decide what you want to be, you decide who you want to be, you decide how you're going to get there, and then you set the systems in your environment to get you there. Because you're not going to wake up motivated every day.
Yeah.
No,
You're
you don't.
going to put things in your path, and the more that you have to make it the easier option to do the thing that's going to make you successful. So that's either surrounding yourself with other successful people that won't take your garbage. It's setting your environment around yourself. Like if you were gonna say, it's Halloween in a couple of weeks, you want to
Right.
lose weight, keep the candy off the counter, right? If it's
Period.
right there, you're gonna eat it. If
Right.
you need to make phone calls to clients, get all your distractions out of the way. Turn your other notifications off. Log off social media. Turn your phone on black and white, right? It's all about motivation. It comes and goes. How do you set your environment, set your world for success? Because motivation's
So
BS.
you know what? Okay. They were talking about what's the guy from Apple that created Apple? I apologize, I forget his name.
Steve
But they
Jobs.
were, what is it?
Steve
Steve
Jobs.
Jobs. Yes. Apologize, Steve. Okay. They said he eliminated the noise.
Yeah,
That's what I hear from you. Are
yeah.
you saying eliminate? Oh, not noise. Eliminate anything that will get in the. That's still noise, though, right?
I mean, Steve Jobs wore the same T-shirt and jeans every day because you have to make on average 35,000 decisions a day. The more of those you can automate, you get your cognitive load back to make the decisions you want.
Freaking love that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And I could use some more cognitive load. I like that, Ryan. Mark, go ahead. Thank you, Rose. Great question, Rose. Mark, you're
Ryan,
up.
what's the most common mindset issue you come across?
I think what Brent said is that you don't even give yourself a permission to dream bigger because you've never seen it. I think one of the reasons people aren't awesome is because they don't know what awesome looks like. So they don't even try to think about it. They don't try to get there. So you need to put yourself in bigger rooms and see what's possible. I saw recently somebody that said, I just start saying big numbers to myself in the shower and normalize the big numbers. Right? I'm investing like I invest in real estate all the time. I'm one of your guys' best clients, not you in particular, but I've bought and sold maybe 15 properties in my life. Like the $1 million mark was a big threshold for me until I got out of my head and I'm like, that's not even that big a deal. It's just numbers on a thing. So I think the biggest thing is people are like, I deserve this much. That's how much I'm going to take. That's how much I'm going to go for when this much is available to you. And there's nothing that separates you from
Come on.
Brent, from me. There is nothing inherently special or better about us than anyone on this call.
Come on, baby. I love it, Ryan. Woo! Get me all fired up here. I'm starting a Bible study tomorrow night at 7. It's brand new here on Puerto Rico. I'm writing all my EXP buddies. I made a list of 19 of them because it's body, mind, and soul. We care more about just the pocketbook, but you get me fired up. You give me all kinds of great information for it. I'm calling it the Paul and Silas Bible Study because at church Sunday, they were talking about Paul and Silas getting thrown in prison, beaten like a real prison, dark, chained to the wall, pitch dark. The jailer's there, and then the walls shook, the doors flaying open, their chains came off, and God set them free, man. And so I am all about miracles, but I am taking notes. I'm going to use this at my Paul and Silas first time ever. If you're in Puerto Rico, come hang out with me right here at my house. We're the inaugural Paul and Silas. I may have to like Zoom that thing or go Instagram live, man. Hey, before we let you go, if we could, and Mark, thank you, man. That was awesome. Love you, buddy. You're a rock star. Great question. Jared Davis, you knew I was going to come to you. Jared has how many doors do you own now? You're an investor, Ryan. Jared, and I'm gonna just real quick, Jared, how many total doors do you have?
Over 300.
Yeah, that's not bad, huh, Ryan? Respect. But when you started, you think, I'm gonna have 1,000 or 300 doors, or you're like, oh man, I'm nervous. I'm gonna buy my first one. What was it like? Or maybe you had this month. I didn't,
My,
but maybe what was your vision like when you started? You kind of just started stepping into it, right?
my first one was an 8 unit, so it was a little bit bigger than maybe a single family as someone's first, but it was an area that I had never bought anything in and I didn't live in it. It was 2.5 hours away. I just kind of went with it and trusted a partner that I got involved with. But my initial dream was 100. So,
Wow.
I mean, obviously that's a much bigger dream
That's
than most.
unusual. I've met a lot of people. Few people ever dream to have 100 units. That is unusual. Why? I'm going to roll it back and then I'll let Ryan ask you questions, but that is not normal. Like I don't know too many people who start off, I'm going to have 100. Like, where did that come from? Your mom, your dad growing up?
No, they didn't have rentals. I actually sold them their first couple rentals after I bought rentals. But no, I bought eight, right? So many investors say like 10, right? How many investors are like, man, if I just had like 10. And I thought, well, I'm eight in on number one. So, what would the next move be, right? And so like a year and a half later, I bought 28 at one time and they were all singles. So it was like I did it all. I did it like an idiot. I did it all on hard money, right? So I pulled like a $2.2 million hard money loan, and bought like all of them. We put down like 400,000 or 500,000 in cash, and then we turned them all over. And every like 3 or 4 months, I'd refinance like 6 to 8 at a time with like a normal bank. And then it took me about a year, and I got them all refinanced with banks. And then we held them for 36 months. We sold them. I think we made like 1.3 million. And then I bought a 48 unit. So you figure within like 36 months, I went eight plus 28, and then the 28 sold into 48. So 100 just didn't seem like crazy. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, I did an 84, and that 84 bumped me to like 200. So at that point, it was like, all right, it's 1,000. Like it's 1,000's the thing. And then in the last whatever 12 months, it's like we bought a 57 in June, we bought a 52 in January, I bought a 60 in September. So yeah, it's kind of like, and now we're looking at a 202 unit in Radford, which would put me at 504 or something like that. So you know what I mean? Like now it's just like, okay, now this is the thing. Now it's like it's 1,000, and then someone was like, is that where you stopped? And I'm like, no, like 1,000 just seems like I could do it in a couple of years, and then it's probably 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000. I mean, it's probably never gonna stop unless I pivot into something else.
I'm gonna let Ryan ask you some questions, but I've never shared this thing one, but I bought my first 12 when I was a sophomore in high school.
It's awesome.
It was a 12 pack of beer. All right, Ryan, so go ahead and ask Jared, like any questions you have for Jared. Like he still didn't answer my question. Did you read a book? But Ryan, anything you want to ask him? I think it's interesting what he's doing there.
No, I mean, I just always think it's fascinating to hear, like, for you, the internal shift from I have none to I have eight to I have 54 to now I have 300. And it's just those things that used to feel big now don't feel big anymore. Can you describe that?
Yeah, that's good. I think once you do that thing the first time that seems so scary, and then you realize like you did it, then it's kind of like, okay, this wasn't that scary. This is pretty mundane, right? So like to buy an 8 unit now, people send them to me, and it's kind of like I don't really care about this, right? Because maybe we need 100,000 down or 200,000 down. And I think, well, some of my investors put down a $500,000. So like I call one person or make a Facebook post and get 100 grand real quick, right? So then what happens is like each little thing you do that's scary. Like the 57 unit was the first time I did an assumption. So that was 3.25% or 3.6 we took over. And it was terrifying. Everything about it was terrifying. Money was hard, and it was 57 units. It was my biggest raise without any partner help. So I raised like $2.7 million within a couple months. All of that was scary. And then now it's done. So now it's like, all right, well, we've done 350-ish units between $4 and $8 million in the last 12 months. So now I'm looking at like 25 to $30 million because now I'm starting to look at, well, I could do sweat equity at 20% and the numbers pencil out to about 4 million bucks I make in 5 years with no money invested, right? And now that's scary, right? But but once it's done, then it's not going to be that scary, right? So every time you just do that next little thing, you're like, oh, that wasn't crazy. And even if it was, like the 57 unit was actually one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Like as far as the structure, it was a hard deal. I mean, I reached out to Brent about it and I'd asked him, hey man, if you know anybody looking to invest in anything, it's going to be a good deal. And it is what it is. But now I look back and like I'm going to make $270,000 or $260,000 off of that one building in 2026. And I'm going to return probably 22% to the investors. Right. So like that one thing that, yeah, it was scary and yeah, it kind of sucked all the way through. Every one of those investors is now going to write me a check anytime I ask because who's giving 22% back, right? So hopefully that answers the question. Every little thing that progressively gets harder, you're like, oh, that's easy now. Now I just got to keep getting harder,
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, as we wrap this up, I noticed something about Ryan. Behind him, he's got a poster that talks about never fear and out and all that. It's kind of a motivational mindset, leadership type poster. It appears to be. Is that correct?
Yeah, never let the fear of striking out keep you from your next home run.
Come on, baby. Again, mindset. You could focus on striking out, or you could focus on the pain, or you could focus on the baby. That's what women do. They say, focus on the baby, right? Focus on the home run. Babe Ruth, the year he set the record for home runs, he set the record simultaneously for striking out. Nobody remembers that. They're like, what? Yeah, nobody struck out more than Babe Ruth, but nobody cares because nobody hit more homers. I think that's a great analogy for our life. So I know what's behind you. I also noticed what's behind Jared. What's he have? Monopoly, baby. He's got. It's interesting, Jared's building this 1,000-person empire. Pretty soon it'll be 10,000, and then of course my motto is making real estate fun again. EXP making real estate, and I got this fun party, colorful thing behind me. I don't know. Maybe I need some more focus, but I'm too busy having fun, and it's worked for me so far. But I do want to wrap up with a few things about our Miami annual convention. So, Ryan, I don't want to torture you. I only got like 3 minutes left, but thank you for being on. You're amazing. And Jared, you and Ryan need to know each other. So I'm going to connect you guys via text. I feel this. So, Ryan, would it be okay if I connected you to Jared?
Yeah.
Wait, you guys need to know each other. I think there's some collaboration there. Jared's in Richmond, Virginia, but don't hold that against him. Anyways, although Denver's as bad as Virginia these days, so you guys will get along great. Anyway, I'm from California. I'm the pot calling the kettle black, so it's amazing anyone talks to me. But all right, thank you for being on, Ryan. We appreciate it.
My
You're
pleasure.
awesome.
Thanks for having me.
God bless.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, you're awesome, man. Okay, so real quick, I want to give you a couple updates. We got Miami coming, and it's coming next week. So I want to say this: Burl's about to get on. Don't go anywhere. But when you come to Miami, those of you that are coming, expect a miracle. You get what you expect. And I'll tell you right now, every time the rental car is going to get screwed up, your hotel reservation won't be there. They'll be sold out. The food, your turkey sandwich will be cold. The bread will be hard, whatever. You can focus on what's going wrong or focus on what's going right. In life, there's plenty of opportunities to focus on what's going wrong. There's no limit to the amount of bad stuff. And there's also no limit to things you can appreciate. So I'm telling you right now, focus on what is good while you're there. Do not let those things get you down. It'll affect what you could get out of those 3 days in Miami if you're going to be there. I fly in this Sunday at 10 a.m. I'll be around all day. I'll be at X Camp. Come find me. I want to have lunch with you. I want to grab coffee with you. I want to go to X Camp with you. I want to hang out with you. You guys are my tribe. I love you guys. You're my vibe. Number two, I'm doing a special suite party, my presidential suite at the Ritz-Carlton. I was at Lowe's. The hotel contacted me a month ago, said, yeah, we're taking back our presidential suite. We're going to remodel it. You can't do that. Yeah, we can, and we are. It's in the fine print. Sorry, goodbye. And I went, And so we contacted like 30 hotels, and we fortunately the only one who had a because it was expensive. But the Ritz goes, our presidential suite is still available. I'm like, yeah, look at the price of that bad dog. So I'm going to be a block away from Lowe's. So if you're staying at Lowe's, I am 1 block away from Lowe's, and it's the Ritz-Carlton, South Miami Beach. It's like 3-4 minutes from the convention center. It's actually closer to the convention center than Lowe's, and it's just down the beach 1 block. And so come on the 20th. Now this is by invitation only. I don't want you to put this on the world. It's for you guys. And you can bring your spouse, you can bring a prospect or 2 or 3, but don't bring 40. It won't fit. The Ritz-Carlton Presidential Suite is very nice. It's going to get really tight around 70 or 80 people. And I mean, you know how, if you've ever been to my suite, and I got some big hitters from EXP coming. And so that is on Monday, the 20th at 8 p.m. When is it? Monday, the 20th. I'll fly in this Sunday, the 19th, Monday, the 20th. So if you're there, I would love to invite you to my presidential suite at the Ritz-Carlton. Do not post this on Facebook, Instagram. And this is some personal invitation from me to you. Finally, I just talked to Felix, who's in charge of international. If you don't know, Felix Bravo, like Bravo, he's in charge of international. I was talking today about Tokyo, Japan, Korea, Turkey, and Ecuador. We've opened all 4 countries, and we're announcing 3 at EXPCon Miami. So we're jumping up to 34 countries globally. We are on a tear, and I'm going to be talking about what Felix told me and some pretty exciting stuff in my suite on the 20th at 8 p.m. and some other big announcements. So don't miss it.